Hello everyone, and this is another Carbon 60 video by me, K. Elmer. And in this video I'm going to discuss how to make and why you would want to make a C60 CBD Crystal Oil as a part 2 from my original C60 CBD Oil video that I made a while back. So let's jump in. I've got a couple of disclosures I want to make sure everybody knows. This material is for research purposes only. C60 oil is not approved for consumption by the FDA. This is not medical or health advice. This is not a product endorsement. I do not sell C60 or CBD products, and I don't get paid in any ways to do videos. This is 100% unbiased. So let's jump in. All right. My first experiment a little while ago is I bought a commercial CBD oil product called Charlotte's Web off of their website. About $150, and I mixed in C60 into the CBD oil. That was my first experiment, and that was the first video. Now, in this second video, I've decided, thanks to one of the subscriber comments, thank you very much, you know who you are, suggested that it'd be a different way to try it would be to use CBD isolates. So I went ahead and gave that a shot, and the results are actually quite remarkable. I mean, in terms of better, faster, cheaper. All right. So in the second experiment, there's two ways you could do it, and I did it the first way, which was I just made my own. So you take oil, you mix in C60, you make your own C60 oil. I've got several videos that cover that, and then you mix in your CBD isolates. And this is kind of an important point, and I want to talk about that in a second. Or the second way you could do it is just buy C60 oil and add CBD isolates. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is in the first experiment, the CBD was in the oil, then I added the C60. And because I did that, I didn't filter it because the thing about CBD, the molecule, it's 1,000 nanometers large, okay? A C60 molecule is 1 nanometer. So if you add the C60 to the CBD oil, you can't filter out the excess suspended C60. And from what I've been learning lately, and I mentioned this in my last video, you need to filter. You do not want to have large clusters of carbon or C60 carbons or whatever, any kind of carbon in your body. It's going to clog up and get stuck in your kidneys and you'll have problems. So you want to make sure you filter. So doing it this way, you cannot filter because if you filter, you'll filter out the excess C60, but you're going to filter out all of the CBD. Don't want to do that, so don't do it this way. I've learning, we're moving along. We're sharing what we learn here. This is all research, right? So now, the better way to do it is to add the isolate or the CBD last, so that when you make this, you filter out the suspended excess C60, and then you have this purified, beautiful C60 oil. Then you add your isolates, okay? So you can either make it yourself or buy it, either one. And I'll show you the difference in cost here. Now, if you make your own, and if you guys watched the last video on how to make C60 oil with pulverized C60, 30 milliliters is about the same as 1 ounce, right? And so it only cost me $2.71 to make a little bottle of C60 oil. So you make your own oil, and then you buy the isolate powder. So that CBD can come floating in a hemp oil, or it can come as a powder, just like, C60 basically. And so I used the same. I wanted to do an apples to apples comparison. So the first experiment was with 1,500 milligrams. The second one is the same. Instead of buying the oil, though, I just bought the powder. And that was $45. So I did find a site that sells it for, there's a lot of sites out there, by the way, that sell it for like a lot of money, like $60 or plus. And then I found a site that sells it for $30, found another site that sells it for $24. It's all in the video description, links below. And so I bought the one for $30. And so at $30 for 1 ounce, it comes out to $45 for an ounce and a half, right? And so total expenditure to be able to make a bottle of CBD crystal oil, or C60 CBD crystal oil, was $47.71. It makes one bottle, okay? Or if you want to just buy it, you can buy a bottle of C60 oil. The average price per ounce is $10.15 if you check out the pricing guide I have. And so that's the average price going right now in the market per ounce, okay? Of course, you buy the isolates and that's $45, and then your total cost would be $55.15. So it's a little bit more expensive. because you're buying it instead of making it. But the idea here is quite simply this. The first experiment, because I bought a $150 bottle of CBD oil, the cost was $177.49 for that one little bottle. Okay. Now, doing it with CBD crystals, the cost reduction is anywhere from 69% to 73% to 69% cheaper if you do it this way. And that is a huge cost saving. So for those of you guys who are hesitant and didn't want to try CBD C60, or just don't want to try CBD, then honestly, just go and buy the isolates. You can go just get 1 gram for $24.45 on this one site. And for $24, you can go ahead and mix that in with your existing your existing C60 oil, and you'll have it. You'll be able to have this. It only costs you $25, right? Or if you want to make it up to $1,500, it'll be a little bit more than that. But the idea here is it's a lot cheaper than it really looks at first glance when you start really kind of digging into it. So big thing there. You can go ahead and try it. It's not cost prohibitive, as everybody kind of thought in the beginning. Okay, so that's a good thing. So, but the first, but here, let me answer this question here. What are CBD crystals? For those of you who are not familiar with that, and this is right off the CBD distillery site. It sells it for $30. There's another site that sells it for $24.45. But off of this website, this is what they say. It's 99+% pure CBD Cannabidiol Isolates. It's derived entirely from an industrial hemp oil that was extracted from the mature stalks and stems of the plant. So it comes from a non-GMO, pesticide-free, farmed marijuana plant, industrial hemp, and it's basically boiled down and distilled, and they've come out with this crystallized CBD, which is one of the many different chemical compounds found in hemp and found in the marijuana plant. And CBD is one of them. There's other ones. There's terpolates, there's CBNs, and all sorts of different kinds. And of course THC, which you're all familiar with, because that's what gets you high. But all the other stuff all of it actually is very, very beneficial from a health standpoint. But this is just the CBD aspect of it, of the plant itself. And that's what they extract. It comes in a crystalline powder form that's really easy to work with. And it just comes from hemp oil. There's no other active ingredients. Of course, I said there's no THC. So this is what the little bottle looks like. Okay, so that's what a CBD crystal is. It's just like CBD oil, except it's just distilled down to just a powder. Okay? So now, the other question that you might want to be asking is, why? Why even bother with this? Now, I want to chat about this for a little bit. And I really want to point you to a video. It's in the video description. It's, what are the benefits of CBD? I've watched dozens of videos about CBD, hemp oil, etc., from a health perspective, and the one I'm recommending is the one in the links. It is literally the absolute best video I have seen. It makes it so clear to understand what CBD is and what it can do for you. And so I'm just going to give you the quick, 60-second version of this video. But please, if you have, I think it's 21 minutes. If you have 21 minutes in your day, you can just listen to it in your car. I highly recommend that you educate yourself on what is called the endocannabinoid system in your body. And what that system is, it is a system that regulates homeostasis. And that means the chemical balance of of all your various systems in your body. It maintains balance, chemical balance. And that is so critical, because without that balance, you have chemical imbalances, and chemical imbalances lead to inflammation. Inflammation leads to disease. Okay. But what's really interesting, okay, is that this plant produces CBD, and we produce CBD as human beings, and it's just like vitamin D. Everybody sort of knows that, hey, you know what? You have to have vitamin D to stay healthy, right? And you get it from sitting in the sun. So it's just like that. For cannabinoids to be produced by your body, you have to go through, you basically have to exercise vigorously, like the runner's high, like that runner's high people talk about who jog and run. It's not only is it, your brain releasing endorphins, which gives you that buzz, but it also releases, your brain signals your body to release cannabinoids that go in and feed into your endocannabinoid system. You also produce, as humans, produce cannabinoids like you would produce vitamin D from sunlight. You also can produce it from meditating. So, I found that to be really interesting, and they cover this in the video. So think about that for a sec. Just like vitamin D, your body produces it, but it needs sunlight. Well, you look on the other side, just like vitamin D, your body has an endocannabinoid system that's one of the most critical systems in your body that basically is one of the drivers of your health, and it requires cannabinoids to be manufactured from your own body, and you only can manufacture it if you're vigorously exercising or meditating and some other things I don't remember. So those are the two things that stuck in my head. Okay, so the other bullet point then right there is, okay, well, are you doing that? I mean, how many of you meditate, do the whole yoga thing, stretching, exercising? I mean, I know there's a lot of you that do that, but then a lot of us are basically typical Americans. We've got our jobs, our kids, our lives, or, all this stuff going on, and actually finding time to vigorously exercise or meditate. The time. I mean, who's got the time, right? If you've got kids and all that stuff going on. So a lot of us don't meditate, and we should. It's good stuff. And a lot of us don't exercise vigorously on a continual basis. We know we should, but we don't. And so the lifestyle that we live, just like living in the winter where you can't get out to the sun to get vitamin D, so you need to supplement. Well, just the same thing with cannabinoids. If you don't do these things to produce cannabinoids, then your body is deficient in cannabinoids, and your endocannabinoid system cannot function the way that is meant to function and help you minimize inflammation in your body and keep your balance, your homeostasis balance of chemicals in your body. And so if you don't do that, okay, then you are opening yourself up for disease. And I'll leave the rest of that video. I highly encourage you to understand what that system does and why you need cannabinoids to supplement its cannabinoids if you are not living that lifestyle I just described. Now, I also have a personal opinion of why CBD plus C60. So if you guys have been following the videos or you're doing C60, then you're going to understand that C60 has like this long list of things that's beneficial to the human body. The most important one is just it reduces stress by being a radical oxygen species scavenger. It goes in and it just hunts down those free radicals and then neutralizes them. It's an electron donor, which makes it like the super antioxidant that exists right now, 172 times stronger than vitamin C and so forth. It's just this awesome thing where it relieves literally at the cellular level, at the quantum biology level of our bodies. This little molecule goes in there and just wipes out all that oxidative stress, and it releases that burden, that energy burden on our cells to kind of have to deal with that. And what does that do? It gives us energy. It helps us heal. It keeps us healthy. And then on the other side of the range, the other side of the scale, is that it boosts energy. One of the most interesting things, if you have time, study what the mitochondria does in your cells. Basically, mitochondria produces ATP, and it does that through an electron transfer from the foods you eat. Okay, and what is C60? Well, it's an electron donor. So when you take in C60, you're pumping your mitochondria, because it can pass through the blood-brain barrier. You're pumping your mitochondria full of molecules that donate electrons to the mitochondria, and it produces what? It produces ATP. ATP is translated directly into energy. It's like jump starting a car. You take C60, you just boosted your energy. So the point that I'm making here, in my humble opinion, is that this incredible thing that C60 does for us, it can be amplified. You can just boost it. It's amazing by itself, but if you drink hydrogen water, okay, you're adding a lot more antioxidant power to what you're doing, and you can just, if you do it honestly, if you're on C60 and you drink hydrogen water, you're going to feel this boost of energy, and and it's just amazing. I do this. I've completely given up coffee. You don't need it. You just drink hydrogen water when you're on C60, and it's like drinking a 5-minute power drink every hour. You don't so it's really amazing what this side of the equation can do from the boost energy standpoint. On the other side of the scale, though, in my opinion, okay, this is what CBD does in combination with C60. It takes that oxidative stress reduction, right? And because that's what that oxidative stress reduction equals lower inflammation. So what does CBD do? CBD lowers inflammation because of the cannabinoid, the endocannabinoid system, and that thing I just described. And so if you take CBD oil along with C60, you're boosting the other side of the scale in terms of what C60 can do for you. And you're just magnifying the ability to reduce stress, reduce inflammation, and it just completely takes it to a whole nother level on this side of the scale. So that's my opinion based on just what I feel when I'm taking hydrogen water with C60 and when I take CBD with C60. It's the exact opposite effect. This is calming, and it's just really calming. And this one here is just really, really energetic. So it's an interesting combination. It's something I've discovered from just dinking around, and I just wanted to share it with you. It's my research. Okay. So how do you make it? And this is, it's the simplest thing in the world. If you've already got, like I was saying up here, if you've already made your C60 oil or you bought the C60 oil, complete no-brainer. Okay, all you've got to do is you just basically, to make your own oil tinctures, this is from a website called CBD Oils, basically you just take any kind of oil you want. You can use olive, coconut, hemp. If you were just going to make a CBD oil, okay? If you're just going to make a CBD oil, you can use any kind of oil you want that you like. But if you're going to, make a C60 oil, use C60 oil. Simply mix, and then whatever amount you want. I'm just going with this number because I want to be consistent with the last video from a price standpoint. But this is what I did. I added 1.5 grams of crystals into 30 milliliters. You'll see this little video next. 30 milliliters of my preferred oil, which is C60 oil, right? And then basically I put it in a hot water bath at around 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, which is about 122 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 10 minutes, and swirled it around a bunch of times, kept it hot, and basically that melts the C60, it melts the CBD crystals, and dissolves them into the C60 oil, and that's it. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So let me just kind of walk you through what that looks like. Here we go. So I have a bunch of different oils. I've got sunflower. I've made sunflower C60 oil. I've got an olive C60 oil and avocado. So anyway, I just grabbed my favorite, which is sunflower. I like that nutty taste, and basically pour off. In this experiment, I was using 40 milliliters. But anyway, so you pour off what you need. Obviously, that's the starting point. Or just pour your bottle that you bought into a little flask. Now, this is what the container looks like that the crystals come in. And then I've got my own little mortar and pestle. This is my clean one that is not stained. What's interesting is that the crystals come and they're kind of lumpy. You can see the clusters in here. So it's pretty lumpy, and it's clusters of just chunks of crystals kind of stuck together. So that's why I use this little tiny mortar and pestle. This is what it looks like after I ground it up a little bit. And then I added it to the flask, and then put the flask in this little thing of water. And so my little Pyrex cup measurer thing. And so I put, basically I started with boiling water in here. I've got my thermometer. You can see it's 116. So I basically put the thermometer in there. I waited till the temperature went down to around that, that 122 to 140 degrees. So I waited till around 130, put the C60 oil with the crystals in it into the flask, and then put that into the hot water bath and let it sit there for 10 minutes. And here's my highly scientific method called swirling, where I just swooshed it around a little bit and then put it back in the hot water so it can keep doing what it's going to do. You can see, look at that color. That's just beautiful. It's that crimson red lion, gorgeous color. Anyway, so there it is right there. I'm done at this point. It's after the 10 minutes. You can see that it's pretty much no crystals. There's no sludge at the bottom. Everything's been dissolved, or so you think. Keep watching. And then I poured into my Myron bottle. So just a little point here. Everything I do, I use Myron, M-I-R-O-N bottles. These are UV protective. The jury's a little out about having to keep your C60 out of UV light. For some reason, I keep reading things that are contradicting, but it is oil and it is C60, so better to err on the side of caution. So keep everything you do when it comes to oils and C60 and even CBD, in UV protective dark bottles. So I buy these little bottles. They come in all different sizes. This is like a 30 milliliter one. So I pour it into my Myron bottle, and then I'm good. But now here's the thing. At the very bottom of the flask, I noticed that. Look at that. You see that? There was actually, I didn't see them at first until I poured off the top, but there was still a little bit of crystals that did not dissolve. And so, of course, you don't want to waste that. So what I decided to do was I went ahead and just dropped the magnet in there and put it on the magnetic stir. So doing that actually worked out pretty well. I just put it on the stir for about an hour. That's what it looks like there, just whipping around like that. And I just let it stir. I took the dogs for a walk. That's probably about an hour. And then after the hour, you can see that all the crystals had dissolved from the stirring. So it's completely dissolved now. And I just poured the excess into a secondary bottle, and I'm good to go. And that's it. That's as easy as it gets. That's how you make CBD C60 CBD Crystal Oil. Real hard to say. Anyway, that's how you make it. It's as simple as that, and all the reasons why and what it costs. I really encourage everyone to try this, and wait till you try it. You'll be amazed. It really is kind of cool stuff, and it kind of, for me, it does this really well. Anyway, so the last thing I want to share with you is the comparison. I make this stuff at home for myself and for my dog, and I went shopping to say, hey, is there anybody else on planet Earth right now making a CBD C60 oil? And I only found 3 vendors. And one of the vendors, it was only a press release that said they were going to make it, but if you go to their website, it's not even for sale yet. And so I don't have any numbers on these guys. But for CannaCarbon, which is one of the CBD oil manufacturers that decided to add C60 to their product, which is backwards than I'm doing, having C60 and then getting into CBD. So the idea here is that, and then there's this other company called Wild Leaf. Everything's in the video descriptions if you want to check them out. So this is the comparison, okay? CannaCarbon sells a 1-ounce bottle of CBD C60 oil. They use a 99.90 C60. They don't disclose how much C60 is actually in their oil, but they do say that there's 125 milligrams of CBD in each 1 ounce, and they charge $60 for that little bottle. Wild Leaf Hemp is the same thing. They don't disclose anything about their how much is in what or what purity or any of that stuff on their website, and they charge $119 for one little bottle. Okay, BluDog hadn't started selling yet. And here you go right here. This is my K. Elmer C60 CBD Crystal Oil. You could make it home. It only costs $47.41. Compare that to what you can buy. And look at the amount of CBD in the oil compared to the one commercial product that shares that information, and then how much C60 is actually in there. So you're getting a big bang for your buck, and it's only $47 compared to what you could buy. So if you want to do this, you pretty much need to make it yourself to get the best deal. So this is it. C60 CBD Crystal Oil, better, faster, cheaper. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and taking a peek at this video. I encourage you to give it a try, and I really appreciate your kind comments. Again, I wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't so nice to me. So anyway, hey, have a great day. Aloha.